Welcome to History 101, Lecture 15, Second Great Awakening, Part New Churches, Seventh-day Adventists. Okay. In this video, we're going to talk new churches from the Second Great Awakening. And on this video, we're going to focus on Seventh-day Adventists. Okay. Seventh-day Adventists, informally developed from the 1830s, the Millerite movement, John Miller. Official legal denominational status of 1863. And so we have the Seventh-day Adventist movement grows out of some other movement, the Millerites, and then during the Civil War we see development into more of a formal denomination. When you read the founders, you'll notice something interesting about the founders. Not all of them are men. That's a non-traditional idea of the period. Women preaching. Women, starting churches and stuff. For the Seventh-day Adventists, they are heavily millennialist. When you say Seventh-day Adventist theology, it's heavily millennial. The purpose is we need to prepare people for the second coming of Jesus. Okay, we need to prepare Christians to be worshiping, in this case, on the correct day. For Seventh-day Adventists, the idea is that one of the ways, or the biggest way, that Christians have gone astray for the last 1800 years, from that point of view, the 19th century, the last 800 years, is we worship on the wrong day. Jesus during his lifetime, Jesus was Jewish. He grew up Jewish. He lived in Jewish culture, Jewish family, Jewish household. He was Jewish, so and we learn from when you study the New Testament, he followed, he was a good Jewish person, I guess you could say. He followed the laws of Moses, the laws of Judaism for that time period, first century AD. And when you study Judaism, in Judaism, Jewish religion, Judaism, the Sabbath is Saturday. You do your worship, and you're resting from the Lord on Saturday. And so for Seventh-day Adventists, Christians, not Jesus, later Christians decided that, we're going to worship Jesus on the day he was resurrected, Sunday. And so you see the Sabbath worship changing from the Judaic Saturday to the Christian Sunday. And so for Seventh-day Adventists, that was an incorrect change. It didn't come from Jesus. First century Christians, after Jesus decided, we're going to worship on Sunday because that's the day Jesus was resurrected. And we're not Jewish, so we're going to worship on a different day. And when you study history, you see that kind of happening. First and second, especially second century Christians, are trying to separate themselves from Judaism, because to be honest with you, when you study first century Christianity, the 100, the zeros, the 90s, 80s. Most people in the Mediterranean world, Roman, Greek, everyone, their first impression of Christianity was that it was a sect of Judaism. It was a Jewish sect. So when as you get into the second century, and you have Christians going out and preaching and converting, to be honest, most people in the Mediterranean world, during the first and second centuries AD, when they encountered Christianity, they just thought it was another form of being Jewish. And so you have Christians in the first and second century going out of their way to try to separate themselves. No, we're not Jewish. We're not Jewish. And so one of the ways you do that is you worship on a different day. Jewish people worship on Saturday, we worship on Sunday. So when you study the secular history, you see that human desire to Romans, Greeks, and anyone in Egyptians, anyone in the first century, anyone in the first and second century AD in the Mediterranean world, when they first encountered Christianity, the first impression most had was, oh, it's just another way of being Jewish. So, and so you have, so you have Christians, especially in the second century, the 100s, 100 AD, 150 AD, 180 AD, or second century AD, you have them going out of their way to try to separate in people's minds. We're not Jewish. We're not Jewish. We're not Jewish, right? And so that's one of the ways you do it, by downplaying. You worship on a different day than the Jews do. But anyways, a little history lesson from ancient history. But so for the 19th century, the Seventh-day Adventists, that's what they're looking at. They're going, Christians a long time ago, Jesus was Jewish. Jesus worshipped on Saturday. Later Christians, they changed the day they worship, not because Jesus said to, but they decided they wanted to celebrate Jesus' resurrection. They needed to separate themselves from being Jewish. They're like, because it's like, you can imagine first and second century Christians going abroad preaching. The first words out of their mouth almost have to be, we're not Jewish. Because why? That's what most people thought when they first encountered Christianity early on. Like, just another sect of Judaism. And so these millennials, they've got to get people ready for the second coming. Think about it. Christ comes again, and we all go, oh crap, we've worshipped on the wrong day for 1800 years. That could cause some problems. And so Seventh-day Adventists, again, heavily millennialist theology, and also a restoration in a way, right? Going back to what Christ taught. What did Christ do? What did Christ do? Christ worshipped on Saturday. Christ worshipped on Saturday because he was Jewish, and so you have that.